Alright, all you trash kickers, this is TBrown0065. Welcome back to another discussion episode here. This story involves Facebook. And judging by the looks of this, things aren't looking too good for Facebook, okay? So what's this story about specifically? Well, there's a lawsuit being filed against Facebook by a libertarian pundit whose name is John Stossel, who alleges that one of Facebook's fact checks, quote unquote, inserted on a video defamed him, and it was deceiving, okay? And then Facebook's response to the filing was, "Oh well, our fact checks. Oh, well, those are just opinions. They're not malicious lies." I mean, here's the problem I have with Facebook. Okay, when Facebook does something suspicious, a lot of times, and they find ways to dodge legal action against them. Okay. And what happened was, I mean, ever since I remember last year, this was like late of last year, that the FTC, sued Facebook, saying that it was illegally dominating the social media industry. Okay, and the problem was that Facebook swept their stuff under the rug and turned them into non-issues. And guess what? Because of that, they were able to successfully dodge that legal action. And the problem with the government is that it's mostly old people who did not grow up with technology like the boomers did, okay? And because of that, they're not exposed to as much important information as the boomers are, okay? Because as boomers, I mean, we could just search stuff on the internet and find information there, okay? We're exposed to that stuff, okay? The government people aren't, okay? They're busy, serving their countries, so on and so forth, okay? So, yeah. I mean, Facebook has been notorious for doing dumb things, okay? I've, reported fake profiles on Facebook, and most of the time, Facebook's done nothing about them, saying they don't violate community guidelines. Facebook, do you see what these people are doing on your platform? They're even worse than trolls, okay? With trolls, I mean, yeah, they'll write mean comments on your posts, but I'd rather be dealing with that than to get scammed and lose an insane amount of money, okay? Because let's face it, we as working adults rely on money to pay our bills, so on and so forth, okay? But Facebook, this stuff is ruining your platform. You realize it, don't you? Okay? What these scammers are doing is that they're finding ways to dodge your community standards, and what these scammers are doing is that they're luring people into giving their money away, or it's not just limited to money, sensitive information, which opens doors to identity theft, installing malware on their devices so that way their accounts can get hacked. I mean, like on the victim's devices specifically, okay? Not the scammer's devices, the victims, okay? And then you allow these people to thrive on your platform. I mean, Facebook, it's only a matter of time before your website becomes irrelevant, okay? You realize that, don't you? And, this is why, and the problem with Facebook is that, they try to weaponize their stuff. That's how Facebook is. They're notorious for weaponizing their stuff, so if you're expressing your opinion about something, Facebook could, they would shut you down just because they don't like what you have to say about something. Whether they'll remove your post saying that you violated their community guidelines and put you in a Facebook jail where you're not allowed to post until your Facebook jail is over, Or what they may do, if, like, say, if you're expressing your takes about an important issue, like, what they may do is they may um, use fact checks to try to silence you by saying that, this is false information, and then what they'll do is they'll suppress your voice, so that way fewer people will hear it. And what do you think is going to happen then? Well, the answer is the problems they're going to continue to thrive. So Facebook, you're not solving problems. You're only making problems worse. And you know what? I mean, I heard stories about, like, Facebook gets sued all the time, okay? I've been hearing a lot of those stories saying, Facebook's been sued for this, Facebook's been sued for that. I mean, and yeah, I could see why Facebook's been they've been under a lot of scrutiny, okay? Allowing harmful misinformation to thrive on their platform so that, disasters are imminent. Where Facebook claims that it's a legitimate information when in reality it's false, so on and so forth. Facebook has been notorious for misleading users. Okay, that's how Facebook is. Okay, we know how corrupt Facebook is. Facebook is like it's like a Chinese state-run publication, okay? And what Chinese state-run publication is that basically it's like they only tell you stuff that they want you to hear. They don't want you to view, like, important information. No, they only give you stuff that they want you to hear. And then everything else, they just bury it and make it impossible to find. Okay? Now, and I will say, though, that if the court disagrees with Facebook's claim, then what happens is that Facebook would be responsible for having to pay in damages for defamation. And if the court agrees with their claim, then it's an indicator that Facebook's been, for a long time, notorious for deceiving users into believing that their fact checks are actual facts being checked rather than someone's opinion. So yeah, basically, you could see where Facebook is going. Okay? All Facebook cares about, and the thing is, they only care about money. They don't care about users. And yeah, in the long run, this is going to kill Facebook. Facebook is not the first website to become popular, and it's not going to be the last one to become popular. Because I'm sure, something else is going to take over. And what do you think is going to happen to Facebook? I'm sure they'll end up in the same position as MySpace and AOL. So when it comes to important information, this is just to give everybody a word of advice. Don't trust anything that social media tells you, because, these platforms are notorious for lying to people, okay? And, like, say if you're on YouTube and say your video was taken down and you got a community guideline strike, and a lot of times if you try to reach out to Team YouTube on Twitter, usually what they'll do is they'll give you a stupid-ass convoluted response saying that, you violated the rules, and then they give you a link to an article, and they don't explain why or how your content was in violation of the rules. Okay, they just say you violated the rules. So, I don't know. I don't trust corporations. Okay, they're notorious for lying to people, and they refuse to. They're basically like the scammers. Okay, they're like the scammers that thrive on social media themselves. Okay, and what they'll do is they'll give you stupid ass convoluted responses, and they'll lie to you about stuff. That's how scammers are, and social media tech companies are the same way. Believe it or not, they may not want to admit to that, but it's a fact. Okay, and when you say something like, oh, well, we're just trying to protect fellow users, when you silence people, you're not protecting them. You're endangering them. You realize that, don't you? And you know what? That's why, earlier this year, this was like back in February, that these major tech companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, their Section 230 has been reduced, which makes them more susceptible to lawsuits. So, so yeah, I mean, in the long run, it's only a matter of time before like social media users migrate to other platforms because they are getting sick of it. Okay, and you know what? I recently have joined Minds. Yeah, Minds as a free speech alternative to Facebook, and you know what? I'm so happy about it, and I think that all of you should do the same thing. Join free speech alternative. If you're a YouTuber, there's websites like BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble. I mean, you don't have to create an account on every single website, but just try one, okay? Just try one, and I think in the long run, you'll still have a presence in case something happens, like if you ever get banned off of mainstream platforms, okay? So, anyways, yeah, the point being, don't trust social media for information because they're lying to you. Okay? Question the authorities. Alright. So, yeah, this is TBrown0065 signing out. I hope that all of you have a good one.